talk about basketball. Nothing's happened with our team in the last 6 hours. We're going to start the same way tonight. Any basketball questions don't matter. Since we left shoot-around, 14 children were killed 400 miles from here, and a teacher. And in the last 10 days, we've had elderly black people killed in a supermarket in Buffalo. We've had Asian churchgoers killed in Southern California. And now we have children murdered at school. When are we going to do something? I'm tired. I'm so tired of getting up here and offering condolences to the devastated families that are out there. I'm so tired of I'm tired of the moments of silence. Enough. There's 50 senators right now who refuse to vote on H.R. 8, which is a background check rule that the House passed a couple of years ago. It's been sitting there for 2 years. And there's a reason they won't vote on it, to hold on to power. So I ask you, Mitch McConnell, I ask all of you senators who refuse to do anything about the violence and school shootings and supermarket shootings, I ask you, are you going to put your own desire for power ahead of the lives of our children and our elderly and our churchgoers? Because that's what it looks like. It's what we do every week. So I'm fed up. I've had enough. We're going to play the game tonight, but I want every person here, every person listening to this, to think about your own child or grandchild or mother or father or sister, brother. How would you feel if this happened to you today? We can't get numb to this. We can't sit here and just read about it and go, well, let's have a moment of silence. Yeah, go Dubs, you know. Come on, Mavs, let's go. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go play a basketball game. And 50 senators in Washington are going to hold us hostage. Do you realize that 90% of Americans, regardless of political party, want background check, universal background check? 90% of us, we are being held hostage by 50 senators in Washington who refuse to even put it to a vote, despite what we, the American people, want. They won't vote on it because they want to hold on to their own power. It's pathetic. I've had enough.
That was the head coach of the Golden State Warriors, their basketball team. I know I saw the picture of someone playing basketball on the backboard behind him. And I put two and two together. Couldn't possibly have made that deduction myself. But yeah, I couldn't have put it better. That was one of those videos where, like, I started playing it and I thought it was going to go one way, and it went another way. The complete impotence of thoughts and prayers. They're both impotent and ubiquitous. It's pretty sad. So, good evening. It's May the 25th. It's the 70th episode of Beyond the Double Red Doors. I assume everybody knows what happened in Uvalde. Even though some of the people who watch are not American, it's pretty, I think, globally known. I mean, hot on the heels of Buffalo, which was hot on the heels of the mass shooting before then, if we are only talking about school shootings, like even only talking about school shootings doesn't doesn't really narrow it very much. But the shooter used, oh no, coke that has been, it's been tampered with. Shooter used an assault-style rifle that civilians can purchase without a license. You can buy the act that he was referring to, H.R. 8, is, as he mentioned, one of the reasons that was Steve Carey, the coach for the Golden State Warriors. One of the reasons, I'm sure it's not the only reason, right? But one of the reasons he's so well versed on this is that his father was killed by a mass shooter. Shockingly, not in the U.S., but anyway, I'm sure that has something to do with him being so sort of on top of the stuff. Although, like, frankly, like, how could you not be at this point? It's there've been like the smallest concessions made over the past 23 years since Columbine. I mean, Columbine was not the first school shooting, of course. And when I say school shooting, let's not get hung up on the semantics of it, right? Like, we know what school shooting means. If I am so angry at a schoolmate of mine that I decide that I'm going to murder my schoolmate, and I do it at school, that's not the kind of school shooting we're talking about here, right? We're talking about mass shooters where the shooter's goal is mayhem and infamy, and possibly hatred, likely hatred. I mean, well, there would have to be a modicum of hatred. I'm going to open this real quick. I don't know what's going to happen though, because should I drink this? I don't even know if I should drink it. Let's see what happens. It sounds okay. I'm going to take a chance. Does not taste okay. It tastes flat. Damn. Anyway, so when I say school shootings, that's what I mean by school shootings, right? So before Columbine, there were a couple. Virginia Tech was really bad, in Dallas. When I was a kid, the image that was called up was the shooter in the tower in Dallas. Those shootings seem almost quaint by comparison now, and I did not grow up in a world. I grew up in a world where we had nuclear drills, Cold War. We had to get under our desks. We did not have active shooter drills. But of course, everybody in the U.S. does that now. It's pretty upsetting. Yeah, I mean, this Onion article has been repeated since, I don't know when it started. I can't remember when it started. It wasn't Columbine, but it must have been early 2000s where the Onion started running this article every time there was a school shooting. They run the same article and just kind of change the numbers and location, but the same headline. No way to prevent this says only nation where this regularly happens. And that is, of course, the most frustrating part about this is like there's the politicization of it aside, like let's pretend that we were unified as a country to solve this problem. The U.S. is not in the same spot as every other country, right? Like we're not starting from the same position. So the solution is not exactly the same for the U.S. as it would be for any other country. Like the U.S. is literally, well, not literally, is figuratively awash in firearms. The ownership percentages are no surprise, I'm sure, to anyone. I don't know, something like 30 to 40% of American citizens have guns. The governor of Texas really, really wanted his citizens to buy guns. So much so. This is the governor of Texas who tweeted this. This is pretty alarming. He was embarrassed that California bought more guns than Texas. Now, this is him being glib, but being glib about something with incredibly deadly circumstances. This guy's a piece of shit. Through legislation that he passed and that he supported and passed, his Second Amendment legislation. Sorry, that was over my face there. Some of the things that he's proud of doing is he authorized constitutional carry in Texas. So, if you want to carry a handgun in Texas, you don't even need a license. What a legacy. Greg Abbott. What a man. And of course, he's like one of, all we're hearing from, and I'm trying not, I am a radical left, I'm a progressive leftist, so it's very easy for me to be like, this is the conservatives' fault. But hearing like what the party line is on these is really, really frustrating, right? When the statement released by Ted Cruz was, a carbon copy, praying really hard for the families. Same shit he always does. He was on Fox bragging, really, no any other way to put it. He was bragging about how he went to El Paso and he went to like all the places where and he went to Dallas when the cops were killed during the riots, the peaceful protests, riots, whatever they were. That was the other thing. Like when those riots were going on, after the police murdered a bunch of people, and people were understandably upset about it, and then they have the gall to sort of act upset that people were upset. So unless he's in Cancun, right? Like he was bragging about showing up, which he usually does, unless he is in Cancun. He's either showing up or he's in Cancun. Probably depends how volatile the situation is, how dangerous it is to his person at the moment. But his statement was just like the statements of almost every other conservative lawmaker. It's really frustrating because we have a supposedly left-wing president and slim majorities. But we can't get stuff passed because of the filibuster. And that's everybody's fault. But if we want to like zero in on say like what is more the fault of the right wing, it is the very fact that they don't see it as a problem. The very fact that they see the proliferation of guns as the solution to this problem and not the cause of this problem. Again, I realize the United States is not starting in the same spot as, say, Belgium. And we can't just automatically say, okay, guns are illegal now, right? Can't really do that. What can we do? The possibilities are endless. But it's one of those situations where it's like we feel like it seems like I want to give people the benefit of the doubt and say like there's analysis paralysis, or people are really afraid that they're going to make some change that sort of obviously the people who are in the pockets of the NRA don't want to make changes that lessen gun sales. There's some subset of people who probably genuinely believe that if we make guns harder to acquire, they're, I think it's a small subset. And these people are stupid. People who really believe, if you honestly believe that making guns more difficult to acquire will not have an impact, a positive impact, and by positive I mean negative, in that the numbers will drop in the number of gun-related violence incidents. I don't even know, like, we can't even start the conversation. Like, if you really think arming teachers, like throwing more guns into the mix, is going to stop this, like, because they're, shooters have been like, well, there have been reports that shooters are looking for gun-free zones, and if you have this red flag area, or if you can red flag people, that it's only going to red flag people who could have been there to save your ass by shooting a good guy with a gun, countering the bad guy with the gun. There was police presence at in Uvalde for I think almost an hour while this was going on. The police confronted the shooter, or I don't know about confronted, interacted with the shooter in some way prior to him barricading himself in the classroom where he shot a whole bunch of kids, not even teenagers. It makes it's all the more difficult to swallow or to bear, because teenagers are assholes. But yeah, fourth graders, fifth graders, third graders. It's pretty sick. But I would probably, people are calling him evil. Here's Lauren Boebert, can't legislate away evil. One of the things that I find funny as an odd about this is it's really easy to sort of just say, okay, this kid was evil. You can't legislate evil. You can't teach away evil. You can produce evil. And I think if you can produce evil, the flip side of it is you can also stop it. You can also ameliorate it in some way. So if we don't want to, it's almost like the car, when you get into the situation where your car's broken down, you've tried everything that you can think of, and so you've got the hood open, you're on the side of the road, and you hit the engine with a wrench. Probably not going to fix the problem, but maybe. Like if you're at the point where the car's not moving at all, and it's really difficult to imagine. I mean, when you look at the number of school shootings, right? Like you can't even. By the way, yeah, Lauren Boebert is a buffoon, and I hope she ends up being a one-termer. We can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Like somebody has to fucking decide that this is something that we're going to do. Maybe we can look at, obviously we can look at what other countries are doing. I mean, there seems like there's like some super simple things that would have an effect, like HR 8. How much of an effect? Maybe not. It's not going to stop them, all school shootings. It's not going to stop. There's not going to be a magic bullet, to use a terrible, terrible metaphor. But it will have a net effect. I think it's probably pretty hard to argue that it wouldn't. And it would probably show up if the net effect was that it actually made it easier for people to shoot up schools, we'd probably see that pretty quick. It wouldn't. The fact that you can go to a gun show, I'm not talking about this kind of gun show. You can go to a gun show and you can purchase a weapon, essentially like it still has, obviously it can be identified, but without any sort of background check at all you need is money. And you can own a gun. And owning a gun is probably not, really the problem. Background check. So this guy bought his gun legally. The Buffalo shooter bought his gun legally. I don't know if H.R. 8 would have prevented either of them from buying guns. I don't know. But to say with any degree of like certainty, it's the height of hubris to say, oh, well, even if these, if they hadn't been able to get guns legally, they would have gotten them illegally. You don't know that. You don't know that. And whatever sort of obstacle you can put up, you want to do that. Again, it's not letting the perfect be the enemy of the good. Maybe we start somewhere. It doesn't have to be the perfect panacea. It doesn't have to be the 100% efficacy solution, right? It can be the first step on a road to somewhere. And it just feels pretty icky. This one feels especially icky. And there's a huge number. Well, everybody's weighing in on this, right? And I brought this up when because we were talking about Buffalo a couple of weeks ago, right? You can just kind of see this, right? I mean, there's a pretty strong correlation between the strength of gun laws. Like, people are saying the U.S. is not like other countries, right? And we can't say that, like The Onion says, although I think they're wrong to some extent. We can't say that, oh, well, because it worked in this country doesn't mean it will work in the U.S. It probably will. There are things that you'd have to change about it. Couldn't do it exactly the same way. Be a good place to start. But all you got to do is look at this. If you want to say, like, okay, well, gun laws or gun restrictions on guns don't have any effect, and then how do you explain this? Like, there's a couple of outlier states here, but generally, when you look at this comparison that I'm holding with my hand, the stricter the gun laws, the fewer gun deaths per capita. California is quite notable. New York, notable. Illinois is a bit of an outlier. Texas is kind of right. Texas is, the other thing is, like, Texas is really big. Do I need to explain that Texas is really big? And that there tends to be more crime in condensed areas, obviously, urban areas. Before I go on too far, let me just say hi. Whispering Wolf, referring to the thumbnail I used. Yeah, we got a lot of conservative lawmakers who just love to take their Christmas photos with their guns. Love their guns more than Jesus. Ansel, how are you doing? Hi, Pivy. Colorful Dreams. GGNYC, I have not seen you for a while. Hi. Anu 742. It's not a gun problem. It's a people problem. Yeah, this is pretty accurate. Oops. Katerina, hi, how are you doing? Kitty Cat, Olivia. Oh, almost took my contact out. I'm a little low energy this evening. Kitty Cat, there was another school shooting in The U.S., yeah, okay. People already got it. Hi, Karan, Amy. Yeah, this... I mean, I don't know. The last sentence is pretty radical. Maybe. I think some changes could be made. Sad Crow Prince. May Habit's lungs fill with fluid. His last words, choking, gurgles, scared, alone. I don't wish ill on anyone. I do wish ill on him. Hey, Nebula ASMR. Good to see you. Yeah, he's given it his all. Look, we can't be too hard on the guy. He's really, really praying. Super, super hard.
Do it.
All right.
What do we got here? That's not working. Is this working?
Johnny Red Neat, okay? Do it. Do it.
All right.
Johnny Red Neat, okay? Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, we're not the Wild West anymore, right? Like, just putting more guns on the street does not seem like a prudent solution. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And none of these things are like. There's also like a sort of pitting of one of these things against the other. Again, usually based on political affiliation. Do all of them. Try them all. Do every single one of them. And don't worry about who gets credit for the lower numbers. It's so bizarre. What a bizarre phenomenon. And it's really difficult. So, I mean, America's been a gun-obsessed country, since it was founded, right? And like violent video games, etc. Like violent video games are filling a niche need of people to express the frustration that they already feel inside of them. It's not creating it. It is giving people, it's allowing them to express it in a way that makes it apparent in ways that maybe it wouldn't be apparent otherwise. Okay. I have all the anxiety squeeze balls are out in force. I've got the one that makes funny noises too. I like this one. It sounds alive. Oh shit. It just birthed a ball. That's the end of that one. I think it broke apart. It's birthing. Oh, look at that. Do I even want to know what these are covered with? Got some kind of slimy coating on it. Oh boy. Let's get back to it. Hey, Jerry. How are you doing? Hope you're holding up okay. Hi, KJ. Hey, Derek. Michael. How are you? Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned this because I do have this statement by Matthew McConaughey, which, maybe I have a problem with this statement, in that this statement is, to me, reads quite cowardly. First of all, he does this value talk that he always talks about, like in his Green Lights book. Let's bring that up while we got this there. He talks about it in his Green Lights book. He's always like, values. Yeah, that's something that doesn't change. Values. That's something you can depend on. And he's talking about the same stuff here, but he doesn't, and he's talking about coming together, and he's talking about praying, and he's talking about providing comfort, and he stops just short of suggesting real solutions. So, saying this is an epidemic we can control, whichever side of the aisle we may stand on, we all know we can do better. Yes, that's clear, right? We must do better. Action must be taken so no parent has to experience what these parents are. Okay, what's the action? Like, gun control laws must be passed. The Second Amendment must be reformed. The NRA cannot control politics anymore. So, why not say that, Matthew? That's sort of my problem there. It just feels like he didn't want to ruffle any feathers, I wasn't saying that they do. I was saying that that mindset exists already and is expressed through them, not created by them. Maybe you're just confirming what I said there. I don't know. On the plus side, even had a little placenta on it, I think. I hope that's all it was. I got macros working now, so I can do stuff like this.
Like, I don't know if that thing that they just did with the COVID is, like, panned out or not. But if it did, that's, like, somebody should probably be looking into that.
That might seem like, hey, didn't you already have that? But now it actually launches the scene, plays the scene on a delay, comes back to the scene. It's a multi-action macro. I love it. I've also got one for tiptoe.
Tiptoe, tiptoe, I miss my tiptoe. He goes wherever I go. I miss my tiptoe.
What else? What else could you ask for? Really, if you want, a bit of light in a dark time. What else do I have anything? I got this. Put them both up. Who wins? Does it matter what order I put them up in? No. Matthew McConaughey wins. You hear several birds. My window is open. A fair amount of heat gets generated in this room when I am live streaming because I have a lot of lights and a lot of cameras. I have 1, 2, 3 cameras going. And I don't know. I couldn't even tell you how many lights at this point. I got 3 lights just for my hair. Just that. Because was a time not that long ago where if I moved like this, I would no longer have a hair light. But never fear. That time is gone. I have a hair light here. I have a hair light. Oh, well, no, it kind of goes away over there. Oh, I only have 2 of the lights on. I only have 2 of my 3 hair lights on. So I have 3 lights just for the hair. And then the background is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And 8, 9. I've got like a dozen lights. At least a dozen lights to get this. And then monitors, the lovely Stream Deck that allows me to do this.
Prince Andrew?
The switcher. Got all kinds of stuff. So yeah, generates a lot of heat in here. So the window's open, and therefore you hear the robins nesting. Podcasts. You listen to Hardcore History, Jerry? If you have not listened to Hardcore History, right there you have like hundreds of hours that you could check out. Hi, Crimes in Space. The tiptoe is hilarious, and it's wonderful because Bob Odenkirk did not die. If Bob Odenkirk had died from his cardiac incident, then I would not be playing it so glibly. But as it is, I'm glad that it's there. I'm glad he's there. I'm glad that Kate Moss testified for Johnny Depp this morning.
Aquaman!
I don't really give a crap about Johnny Depp, honestly, but I don't like the word annoyingly in any sort of description of Douglas Adams. It's definitely postmodern. I don't know how confusing it is unless if you're looking for just like a linear story, then it's kind of hard to follow, especially once you get to like the 4th book. But if you're just looking for, I don't know, philosophical comedy, Terry Pratchett, Monty Python-esque, literary brilliance, you could do worse than Douglas Adams, who died at my age of a heart attack whilst working out. You think I don't think about that every day when I'm working out? Every damn day. It's not a moan. That is Amber Heard saying, "Oh," because she wants her wig back. I'm assuming Johnny Depp took the wig, put it on his head, and then went, "Aquaman." And she's like, "Oh, you're disgusting," or something like along those lines. It's my guess. I'm painting a picture with my mind. No, Olivia, you should not watch it. It's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. All right. Let's keep going. Do we even care that, like, this guy said this? Does this even matter anymore? Does anything that this guy says, does like anything he says ever matter? But can we take a moment to, like, whenever, man, I follow so many. If anybody looked at my, like who I follow, what videos I watch, they would get like such a wrong impression of me. It would be really, really, I think, I worry, people from work might stumble across something I have. Well, at least they get context then. But anyway, this is Stephen Crowder saying white privilege does not exist because if it did exist, then people like Obama and Colin Kaepernick would want to identify with the white side of their ethnicity in order to take advantage of that white privilege. Seems like being a minority is where the privilege is really at. Look at his face. This guy's face. Here's another guy who glamorizes guns. Wears a shoulder holster every time he goes on air. Has a gun bottom right. Has a watermark on his videos. Why? Why? What's he afraid of? What's he worried about? Someone gonna break into the studio? Is he posturing? Oh my God, could he possibly be posturing? Oh shoot, I've not seen this profile pic in a while. Hey, Flaglow. It's good to see you. Yeah, I agree with this. I really feel like this is more prevalent than any of us really know, right? Like people who are being intentionally obtuse in order to stir the pot. I think Elon Musk is doing that too. You just gotta, whatever grabs eyes, right? I mean, everything is clickbait now. You gotta look at everything through the lens of engagement. So, it doesn't really matter so much if it's positive or negative engagement. What matters is engagement. You want to see if we can birth another one of these? Let's see if I can. Let's get a close up. Put a close up on it. It's gonna be fun. Okay, here we go. All right. You wanted this. What color is it gonna be? It doesn't matter. Why are you concerned with it? It's not a gender reveal party. Oh my God. This actually looks fairly gross, doesn't it? Oh, fuck. It was triplets. I really kind of want to know what is on these things, though, because there is some kind of coding of what I know not. Of what I know not what. Yeah, it's like leaving my hand greasy. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see that. My hand is greasy. It's probably like lube or something. Like silicone-based lubricant. Bummer. And once they have kids, they're pretty much useless. This one's great, though. Isn't that cute? Look, we have to find our comfort where we can. And I find my comfort. I mean, people act like these things are new. This is just like those stress dolls that they had in the 70s that were like red. They were like brick red, and the eyes would pop out, and the nose would pop out when you squeezed it. Under the sun, nothing new there is. Isra, how are you doing? It's good to see you. You're kidding me. Well, I mean, apparently it just happens. Like, this is not the first ball that has happened to me on. So, it's a fashion with love, a gun, my love. Colombia. Okay. I don't know what that means. Oh, I don't need... See, this is where the engagement increases. See what happened here? I did something that got a mostly negative response, and the engagement increased thoroughly. You all should be ashamed of yourselves. Like, ideally, the thing to do, like when you see something like this happening, would be to tune out, or at the very least, not say anything about it. But a lot of you said stuff about it. Even Flaglo said stuff about it. I like this one because it's actually kind of neat, right? Like, as you squeeze it and the surface becomes thinner, it becomes more and more translucent, and you see the color of the slime inside, which is pink, but the effect is just kind of like it just changes color, which is, it's just a neat idea. I'm sure whoever thought of that idea got duly compensated. And then this is, that. Some serious off-gassing going on there. It made me feel nauseous. And these just... Anyway. PG, how are you doing? It's good to see you. Mari Nakasawa. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I did not make it to this most recent one, or there's actually one going on right now. With the through March for Our Lives. I know because they text me all the time. David Hogg texts me. He does, though. I mean, well, automated. I used to go to a lot more. I was at the original March for Our Lives with David Hogg back in, was that 2018? 2018, I think it was. And I've been to several since then, but I have not been as active as I should be. I need to get back on the horse. As long as you're disgusted with yourself, like, I'm not even sure what this means. That would be great. Like, that would be, to do something where we met up at the mall, the National Mall, not the mall. When I say the mall, I don't mean the shopping mall. I mean the mall. For a march. You never know. One can never. I don't think Angelica is predictable in that manner.
Prince Andrew?
This would be difficult to say. Mercurial. That is the word I would use.
Johnny Red Knee, okay? Do it. Do it.
All right.
Johnny Red Knee, okay? Do it. Do it.
All right.
Sure they do. Sure they do. Well, I flat out refuse to fly. Period. If I did fly somewhere, Brittany would be nice, wouldn't it? I have not lost my internal idea of what Brittany is like. Brittany is a beautiful place where there are no school shootings, vineyards, rolling hills. Man, smell is bad. Oh, I did get, so last week, I don't know when it was, a couple days ago, last week, I read the Aikman story, The Same Dog. And I think it's my second favorite Aikman story. And I was able to find it online because I only have the audiobook of it, or I only had the audiobook. And now I have the physical book, which has my favorite Robert Eichmann story in it. And I realize I sometimes say Eichmann and I sometimes say Aikman. I don't really know which one is right. So I figure I can kind of cover my bases by saying both. Wait, what is what a reference to? The Do It? That's Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller.
Johnny Red Neat, okay? Do it. Do it.
All right.
What else do I got?
You make me want to be a better man.
And I won't play all of this one.
I believe that truth will save the world. So
It's shocking to me that he would sort of crucify himself like that. Oh, and I've updated my "This Thought Is Dumb." There, let me leave that up for a minute so I can say some stupid things. How about we can go through HRA, right? I have it. Where do I have it? I have it right here. Right here. We could go through it point by point. And we could really take it apart and see why is it that like what's wrong with this? Like why shouldn't we pass this? In fact, let's do that. I'm leaving up the "This Thought Is Dumb" disclaimer while I do that because I'm just going to say whatever the fuck pops into my head. Okay. The purpose of this act is to, I'm going to have to get closer. It's going to be hard here. I'll be a little out of focus. Purpose of this act is to utilize the current background checks process in the United States to ensure individuals prohibited from gun purchase or possession are not able to obtain firearms. Okay, that sounds good. Sounds good on the surface of it. All right. I mean, what's wrong? I mean, it sounds redundant, right? Like, ensure individuals prohibited from gun purchase are unable to get firearms. So it's basically saying, make sure the laws that we have work, right? So, retransfers. It doesn't matter the sections. So there needs to be an amendment adding at the end the following: it shall be unlawful for any person who is not a licensed importer, licensed manufacturer, or licensed dealer to transfer a firearm to any other person who is I'm getting rid of it. This is dumb. This is not dumb. It shall be unlawful for any person who is not licensed to transfer a firearm to any other person who is not so licensed, unless a licensed importer, licensed manufacturer, or licensed dealer has first taken possession of the firearm for the purpose of complying with subsection T? Subsection T. I don't see a subsection T. I thought this was the whole thing. Seems like a little short. But let's imagine for a moment that just means, well, I think what it does mean, right, is if you're not licensed, you can't transfer. If you're not licensed to sell guns to someone, you can't sell guns to someone. You can sell your gun to someone who is licensed to purchase and sell guns, and then they can sell the gun. That makes sense to me. Like, this just seems like so far. Well, let's see if it goes any further. Upon taking possession of firearm, a licensee shall comply with all requirements of this chapter as if the license were transferring the firearm from the inventory of the licensee to the unlicensed transferee. Okay. If a transfer of firearm described in subparagraph A will not be completed for any reason after a licensee takes possession of the firearm, including because the transfer of the firearm to a receipt of the firearm by the transferee would violate this chapter, the return of the firearm to the transferor by the licensee shall not constitute the transfer of a firearm for the purposes of this chapter. So if the deal doesn't go down, the gun goes back to who originally had it. Sure. Like this seems really pedantic. Like so far it just seems like this is saying, let's make sure that we actually comply with the legislation that already exists. Paragraph 1 shall not apply to law enforcement agency. Okay. A transfer or exchange in kind for firearm of the same type. That's a loan or a bond. Wait, that sounds weird. Oh, wait a minute. Paragraph 1. This seems weird to me. It will not apply to a transfer or exchange that's a loan or bona fide gift between spouses, domestic partners, parents and their children, including step-parents and their stepchildren, between siblings, aunts, uncles and their nieces and nephews, grandparents and grandchildren. Okay, I guess that's... okay, so a little bit loose there. Like, domestic partner, I don't know like what you have to do to declare a domestic partner and make it official, except to just say like, this is my domestic partner. I don't know, but it does seem a little bit like, what's to stop me from just saying, hey, this person is my domestic partner, and then I'm giving them the gun, right? There's probably a technical way to declare a domestic partner, but I think I looked into this, at least in Virginia, for the purposes of medical insurance, and all I had to do was say this person was my domestic partner. So I don't know. That seems like it might be a little weak to me. Temporary transfer. A temporary transfer that's necessary. So you can also, like, if your house gets broken into and you have a gun and the person standing next to you doesn't have a gun, or you have two guns, the person standing next to you doesn't have a gun, you can temporarily transfer one of your guns to this other person to help defend your home. All right, fine. Death, of course, right? Any transfer that's approved by the Attorney General. Now, the Attorney General, like in Texas, is a real piece of shit, but, you know, at least generally, like, that seems like prudent. A temporary transfer if the transferor has no reason to believe the transferee will use or intends to use a firearm in a crime or is prohibited from possessing firearms under state or federal law. Oh, okay. So this is exclusively at a shooting range, shooting gallery, hunting, trapping, pest control. Okay. Right. Okay. So, I mean, that seems pretty straightforward to me. I'm not sure what's the big to do. What's the big to do about HR 8? It doesn't even, I mean, it really does seem like all HR 8 says is like the laws we have about gun ownership should be enforced and background checks should be enforced. Don't know what the hubbub. Apparently the Republicans are going to filibuster to stop HR 8 from going through. Yeah, pest control. You don't want to, pest control can include pumas. And, if we're talking like a 22 small caliber weapon. Hey, Nasha. I didn't see you. Whoa. We got 2 birthdays? Happy birthday, Nasha. Happy birthday, KDA. Does anyone want to say your ages? Probably don't. It's rude of me to ask, right? So what? I understand this. I mean, this is part of the problem. Like, at some point, I mean, we're way past that point, right? Like, at some point, worrying about securing another term. I mean, how do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night? Like, these are human beings, right? I'm not talking about the people who are getting killed. These politicians are actually human beings, right? Like, how can every one of them be so fucking vitriolic and sociopathic and lacking in simple empathy? Like, I would just think, just doing a numbers game, you would get a few in there. Like, it can't just be Bernie Sanders. There has to be more than one. Oh, Nasha and KDA, you're both similar ages. But you're both still youngins. Youngins in your 30s. So, yeah, we got that. We did that. Maybe Texas can still go for number 1. Why do I have this? I'm not sure why I have this here. Do we want to talk about NFTs? Do you think Damon Albarn feels like he should get some small percentage of every ape-related NFT that has ever been created? He's definitely crotchety, right? Like he's lashed out a few times. I think, didn't he lash out at Billie Eilish? Look at those things. Like, who would have thought? Who could have thought that just seeing something like that could stir such depths of negative emotion? I own all 6 of them. That means I'm allowed to go into the yacht club and into their chat rooms and talk with other owners of yacht apes. And if I give them slurp juices, I can customize them and multiply 1 into each, 2 of them into 3. So what I really have there, it looks like I have 6, but I could actually have 9 with the slurp juices. But I don't expect you all to understand what I'm talking about there. Interstellar Sea Cow, hi. How are you doing? Okay, but I was not watching what you said, Nasha. So I promise you, I did not get the idea from you. I mean, This is in the cultural zeitgeist, right? I mean, it's obviously where that came from. Does anybody want to... God, I got my Stream Deck has 32 buttons now. So sometimes it's hard to find. Got that subscribe button. Seriously, if you're watching right now and you have not subscribed and gotten 10 of your friends to subscribe, then I'm disappointed. And I have more or less kept to my no Peterson promise. Katerina, I this is something I gotta address. I need to do what I feel. Like I'm beginning to feel a little bit beholden to doing things that people expect and not doing what I want to do, and it's giving me this very negative feeling, sort of generally. It's giving me a negative feeling about the writing extravaganza, which I don't want to have. And like if I go in a different direction with the style of these live streams, probably if I go in a different direction, what I'll do is I'll break it off into multiples. But I want to do more of them. But I gotta tell you, the truth is I'm not really feeling the writing extravaganza just yet. And I feel like, it feels to me like, yeah, I did talk about it and I'm definitely going to do it. I gotta kind of do it when it feels right to me. It's not gonna be something where it's like, okay, we're doing it now and the deadline is next week. I promise it's not gonna be like that. And if people want to start writing stuff for it, I mean, the basics are already known, right? Less than 4,000 words, not fanfic and not erotica, fiction, or narrative fiction or, well, fiction-ish, you know. I mean, most stuff was agreed on. I don't think we have like dates set up yet. We have ballpark dates. It's just, I want to feel like I'm enjoying. I want to enjoy it too. So certainly there's nothing stopping anyone from getting started early if you like, or now if you like, if we don't want to call it early. But I just don't like. I had some people reach out to me about stuff as well when it came to like changing up the way that I was doing things, and I kind of compounded to where I was feeling like I needed to do things the way I've always done them, but I'm not really feeling like doing things the way that I've done them. I'm feeling like things need to change. For me, right? Like, and I understand, like, consistency is a good thing. But change is also a good thing. I just want to do things. I just want to do things different. You know what I mean? Jelly bean. And I'm not calling you out there, Katerina. I hope you don't feel that. I'm not calling you out. I'm just. I just, like the last 4 podcasts, it seems like there has been pressure to be like, let's talk about this thing. Let's talk about this thing. It's May. It's still May. Well, actually, it's almost June. Time flies. No, I wouldn't say that I'm feeling blue. I was in the dumps last year. Winter of 2021 was, boy, that was crap. That was the worst. That was, I don't know what was going on then. I don't know if I said this, but I was having physical symptoms at the time too. Like it was really, I was just kind of half out the door, in a lot of different ways. So I'm feeling much, much better. I appreciate that. No. See, but this is not what I want to. No, I don't want you to be quiet, and I don't want you. No need to be sorry. And I didn't mean to like put this on you. And I didn't mean this to be like a dad vibe speech either. I just don't. I'm not feeling the writing extravaganza right now. I'm just not feeling it. I want to do it. I want to like set it up as like an event. I would like for it to be like something that, I want to get art done for it. The things I really want to get art done for it from someone who can't do art for it at the moment. Saying that like I'm keeping it secret. Y'all know who I'm talking about, I think. But so yeah, I want a bunch of stuff, and I want to kind of promote it. I would like for it to be. Ideally, it would be some kind of a. No, I don't like this, Pivy. Pivy, don't say stuff like that. Ideally, it would be promotional as well. No, Flaglow, don't join in. Yeah, great. Lovely. So I want it to be a thing. I'm not trying to brush it off. Like if anything, I want it to be more of a thing this year than last year. So yeah. Well, let's not make it weird. There is I'm feeling a little angst. A little bit of angst. Where is Q? Where is Q? I'm feeling the gap. I am feeling the gap. Amy, there's no judge. There is no judge. Literally, if you write something, you're in. It is a random selection. So, there is no judging. Anyone could win. Hey, Warp Raven. I know everybody knows this by now, but like, man, every time I see Warp Raven's Insta feed, I get happy, get inspired. I feel a bit lazy when I see the stuff that Raven does. Oh, have we seen you both at the same... Oh, I missed. Have we seen you both at the same time? I don't know. Q is a... Well, do we need Q when we have James Lindsay?
Like, I don't know if that thing that they just did with the COVID is like panned out or not, but if it did, that's like somebody should probably be looking into that.
Whoops. I didn't use the macro for that one, which is why it stopped at the end. Let's see what else. What else do I got? It's only been an hour. Like I'm feeling, I don't know. Maybe this is one of those days where we make it a short one. Oh yeah, this is the pictures of the dude's rifles. He bought on his 18th birthday. Those magazines, at least one of those magazines looks high capacity. I don't know. This is kind of a... Way back in 2016, the Attorney General for Texas, Ken Paxton, here's what he talks about. Like, look at what he's talking about when the Second Amendment was being, well, it wasn't even being eroded. There was some talk of reform. Right? He says they've made a mockery of our borders and are inviting potential terrorists to infiltrate and attack our nation from within. That's a dog whistle if I've ever heard it. How is this guy still the Attorney General of Texas? I don't know how that's possible. I don't get it. Oh, Katarina, I hope you do not have COVID. I saw a tweet the other day that I thought was quite humorous, saying the irony is that COVID would actually be a much better name for Zoom. It's a perfect name. A perfect name for Zoom is COVID. It's Chinatown. It's Texas. They still have Austin, though, don't they? There's some degree of... They have Matthew McConaughey, and he's preaching moderation, I suppose, of some kind. Hey, this guy spends a lot of time in Texas. I love it. I want to look closer and closer. That face. Look at the disdain in his eyes as he looks back over his shoulder at you, a non-billionaire. Yeah, I really liked Amanda Gorman's response. She was the poet laureate, or still a poet laureate? I guess she said One Nation Under Guns. Yes, COVID. That is the joke. Elon Musk has been oddly silent on the events in Texas. I mean, he's got big corporation there. Might want to... Surprised he has not weighed in. I'm surprised he hasn't sent in his... he hasn't made a performative show about developing AI robots armed with guns that can use facial recognition software to eliminate threats to schools. You want me to remove this picture? I can sense that, mostly because you're saying it. Oh, Maddie, your wisdom teeth Well, hope you have a good night. I'm not sure if they were taken out or not, but if they were taken out, I hope you recover soon. And if they're just bugging you, maybe you should get them taken out. Yeah, exactly, right? Like, and then people are like, well, where's the line, right? The line's it's pretty clear where the line is. Like, you want to make a big thing about 16-shot magazines instead of 12-shot magazines? I don't know. Oh, man, all 4. Okay, good luck. I hope the swelling's not too bad. Swelling was a pain for me. But, it was discomfort. It was discomfort. It was not really pain. It was a pain, not pain per se. And yes, I had all 4 done at the same time as well. But I had an ex who blew up. Like, it was comical. It looked fake. Like, took a picture and it looked like I manipulated it in Photoshop. It was huge, like Trump huge. For me, it was just, you could tell. But even for her, it was just discomfort. It was not, just watch out for that dry socket. You don't want to get dry socket. But it's fairly easy not to get dry socket. Yeah. I drive by the NRA headquarters quite often. In fact, I drove by the NRA headquarters last night. I wasn't thinking about Uvalde. But I drive by it quite a bit. That's what makes it so funny. It's a hoot. But you really should rest, yeah. I don't know if you got them taken out today or yesterday. If you got them taken out today and you think you're swollen now, wait till you wake up tomorrow after you've been horizontal for a while. No fun. At first I did want to like flip them the bird as I drove by, and it just sort of, something that struck me driving around DC. It's very clear that like there are areas where lots of politicians live, right? Like Chevy Chase, Maryland. There's like a Maryland area where politicians live, and then there's a Virginia area where politicians live. If you live in the southern like Virginia area, around where politicians live, in order for you to drive from the houses there into DC, the most direct route, which is 66, takes you right by Arlington National Cemetery in such a way that you see it. So you see just the rows and rows of, little pillbox shaped headstones as you drive up to the Pentagon. And I always wondered if that was like intentional, like a sort of, don't forget, right? Like what you're doing, like, and what the potential, what the stakes are, and whose lives you're risking, etc. Just kind of seeing that. Oh man, you had Oh, you're on day 3. Okay, so you're on the way up. Well, there's a Trump is speaking. Trump and Ted Cruz are speaking at an NRA function tomorrow. If there's a way to protest that, I may look into that. Dan Crenshaw had the presence of mind, although I don't know that has anything to do with his personal morality or anything, but he at least pulled out. Trump and, I mean, come on. Trump, you think Trump's ever going to give two fucks about anyone who is not him? He doesn't even care about his own kids. Like, the idea, you know, a lot of times, like, we have kids, or we can empathize with the idea of having kids, and that makes these events all the more horrifying. I have one kid right around the age of well, they're really on either side. But approaching that age, right? So, you know, the empathy is very real, and the fear and the kind of outrage is very real. Like, I don't think Trump would. Trump doesn't give a crap about Barron. You think Trump? I mean, Trump cares about Barron. I believe Trump cares about Barron, but I don't think he really like is worried that. Well, for one, like Barron's going to what is it, Barnard or wherever all the political children go. It's a good thing. Make a martyr out of that guy, right? I guess what I'm saying is I feel like Trump probably doesn't have that problem with empathy when it comes to imagining Barron getting shot at his school. Not even because Barron can't get shot, but because he just probably wouldn't. Like, I imagine Trump's response would be, you know, maybe he's putting all his marbles in the Barron basket because his other kids, arguably apart from Ivanka. Oh, that was this. That was not me, by the way. Still making noise. Because they were all, apart from Ivanka, such failures in his eyes. Maybe he is putting all of his eggs in the Barron basket. Probably not a good idea. Barron strikes me as the reticent type. He might, I don't know, might have more in common with. It's tough because with a name like Barron, right? It's tough. It's tough to get over the branding. To know the human beneath the branding, the Barron Trump brand. Evil swept across Uvalde yesterday. Anyone who shoots his grandmother in the face has to have evil in his heart, Governor Greg Abbott said, but it is far more evil for someone to gun down little kids. And yet this happens, and we provide the tools, and arguably we provide the motivations and the pressures and do not provide the support. The problem is not. The problem is multivariate. We can attack it on a bunch of different fronts, and we should. We shouldn't be hung up on background checks. We shouldn't be hung up on mental wellness. We shouldn't be hung up on. Here's one thing we should be hung up on: don't give teachers guns. That cannot be, is anyone in their right mind? Police officers already haven't hard enough time imagine teachers with guns. Like, I mean, teachers can be very heroic. I'm not doubting that teachers can be heroic. I'm just saying, I mean, that's going to be a solution. Is just, it's not more guns. My school, it seems like maybe this is a trope. My school definitely had the teacher who was a science teacher and science teacher slash coach. I don't remember what sport he was the coach of. But, you know, do double duty like that sometime. I mean, his qualifications as a science teacher, I don't think were much more than, you know, he went to high school himself. But there was that one guy who, if teachers did have guns, I would be worried about this guy. I mean, you have enough guns in circulation, they will get into the hands of people who, like, for every school shooting that happens, there's probably like 50 school shootings that almost happen that are foiled by things that we don't see, right? Even something as inconsequential as like inconvenience. You know, like if it didn't happen on a certain day, somebody might not do it at all. Or like they were going to do it and it was going to happen if it was going to happen on this day, but then the car wouldn't start or a part that was ordered didn't come in time. And then it just never happens. Like there's a pretty narrow window for that kind of stuff. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, right? So even if you delayed it, like I wonder if you took this kid and you prevented him from committing the act that day for a month, prevented him from doing it for a month, didn't do anything else. Like it was magic, right? You waved a magic wand and he was prevented from doing this for a month. Would he ever have done it? Now, obviously there's an argument that's like, well, yes, he's mentally ill, so he probably would have done it. There's a lot of mentally ill kids out there. Like you see, like the messages he was sending and the things that he was doing. It doesn't sound that different from a lot of what I hear, you know, from a lot of kids. When I was that age, I probably would have been on like some kind of list because of the way I behaved. I guess I just wonder, like, you know, how many near misses have there been? And it seems like that number would be a lot. And if we agree that, like, okay, yeah, it probably is true that there are lots of near misses, then it kind of logically follows that we wouldn't have to move the needle that much to lower the number of these incidents from happening, lower the number of these incidents that happen significantly without doing that much. But we'd have to do something, right? Outlawing bump stocks was great. Just keep doing it. Keep doing stuff. When you go into Wikipedia and you just look up school shootings, right, and you look up by date, it is crazy when you scroll through them. In fact, let's do that now. Let's go there now. Let's show it now. This is the 50s. 50s, 60s, 70s. Note the numbers. 80s. Whoa. Oh, okay. This is David Young. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's leave David Young out of it. There are outliers. These I mean, this is actually a lot more than I would have kind of thought at this particular time. But you can see this bar, right? Takes us all the way to '99. Where is Columbine? Wasn't Columbine 99? Am I? Was Columbine 99 or 2000? I thought it was 99. So this is all the school shootings that happened before the year 2000, right? And let's take a look at that scroll bar. There's a lot, but it's like deaths 0, injuries 1. A lot of them are deaths 0. I wish there's a way to filter those out here, but we go to 2000s to now. The bar is longer. More, oh wait, no, this is not 2000s to now. Why is 2000 to present? Is that, no? Why is it not? I feel stupid. Before 2000. Can we go to 2000 to present? Okay, there we go. Sorry. Yeah, the bar is at least as long. And this is just 2 decades. Nuts. And some of these numbers, I mean, I've completely forgotten about a fair number of these. Yeah. Fuck. 22. There's only a couple that are higher. Dallas was higher. Columbine was not higher. Oh, the Virginia Tech shooting. Yeah. Damn. Sandy Hook, 27. Okay, so Virginia Tech, Sandy Hook. Are those the only two with more fatalities? God, it's even difficult to just kind of go through all these. Oops. Yeah. So apart from Sandy Hook and Virginia Tech in the 2000s, this is the most deaths. And this is just in the past 2 years. Is that like 46? Wait. I mean, yeah, it's tough when it's just one, right? Because that could be, yeah, see, like a lot of these, when they're one, it's like, this is a person who targeted someone and it happened at a school. I guess in my head, that's, I classify that as something different. It's where Matthew McConaughey was born and raised. Yeah, I was just looking at various charts and stuff prior to doing this. But I think we all get the idea. Yes, thank you. Thank you all. Yeah. I was clicking the link, taking me to the link, but not the link taking me to the page. That's a great comment, Nasha. I like when you get, like, sometimes when I do that, you get the kind of aggressive older people who are waiting for you to finish. And sometimes you should do it twice. You shouldn't just do it once. You should do it twice. People will get mad when you do that. Anyway, so nothing's going to change. The filibuster is going to stop there from being any real change. Most likely, we will go back to business as usual. In 3 to 6 months, there will be another large-scale school shooting. Rinse, repeat. By the way, I don't know if anyone... on the back of shampoo bottles, it says lather, rinse, repeat, right? And when you get, generally, if you get your hair cut, when you go and they wash your hair, they'll do it twice. Right? I've only just recently started doing that myself. And the difference is night and day. What's cool about it, or one of the things that's like kind of cool about it, is the amount of, you think, oh, well, you're using twice as much shampoo. The amount of shampoo you have to use for the second lather is minuscule compared to the amount you need for the first lather. Now, you may think, and I thought, well, that's probably because there's some residual shampoo still in your hair. I don't think that's it. I think it's the oils and stuff that build up in your hair or product. Because I have like rinsed my hair until it was like, I knew it was 100% clean, and I still only needed really just a pea size to get that second lather. Helicopter. I can see it like flickering the meters. My point is, lather, rinse, repeat. It's not, they mean it. Do it. Well, some people have oily scalps. All right, everyone. Thank you for hanging out. And sorry for the sort of downcast. It's a downcast nature of this particular stream. But I do have Cold Hand in Mind now, paper copy of it. And I'm thinking I'm going to read The Hospice, which is my favorite Robert Eichmann story, in the next day or two. Not sure if I'm going to do it on this channel or the Phoenician Sailor channel. As I mentioned, I'm thinking of changing some stuff. Possibly moving more things to the Phoenician Sailor channel. We'll see. But please remember, if you haven't already, to subscribe. And I hope you all feel better. I'm assuming you all don't feel so good because of stuff that's happened. I don't feel so good. So, yeah, I hope we all feel better. That'd be great. And I'll see you all next week, or if not next week, then earlier. And take care of yourselves.